This episode is brought to you by the members of the You Run Podcast Network, the Paranormal Misfits Podcast, the Horror Friendly Podcast, the Girl and the Gay Podcast, Video Tasties, Pop Culture Reflections Podcast, the Ghoulish Gallery, You Gonna Eat That Crust Podcast, Voices from the Mausoleum, the Dewey Pod Monster Podcast, the Aardvark and the Magic Moshi Do Red Dwarf, and Movies for Days. All available at yourunpodcast.com.
Hi, Mark. Am I keeping you up?
Sorry, I thought I had longer to do that
then. Why don't witches wear underwear?
I do not know. Why don't witches wear underwear?
So they can better grip the brooms.
I like that one.
Yeah, it was a little bit lippy to open the show, though, wasn't it?
Oh.
Hey, everyone.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Mark. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And this is the horror movie review show completely run and controlled by you. And if you thought I had some sort of mental break there for a minute, I was checking my audio settings so we had a decent recording.
Oh, thank God for
that. From selecting the movie through to scoring it and sharing your opinions, you can get involved in the simplest way. Go and follow us on social media. We're at You Run Podcast everywhere. When you get to Instagram, go and follow Mark. He is VHS from the Crypt and the Reviews from the Crypt on Instagram. They're both awesome accounts, and I'm not just saying that because he's my co-host. They're really good. So go and follow him. If you enjoy listening to the show, leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching on Rumble, click like. Click comment, say something, and subscribe. But no, sorry, it's not subscribe. That's the other place. Follow us. Follow us on Rumble. If you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail DM on Instagram or X. Short and sweet today. I've got a lot to say this week.
Brilliant. I'm excited. To see where this goes.
It's going to go some places. Definitely. I have thoughts. 19's teen movies are all about school hierarchies, awkward crushes, and pure dread and anxiety of getting a snap bracelet stuck on your wrist. They're sugar-filled fever dreams with wish fulfillment and, oh, I'm stuck in detention and, oh, that boy likes me, tropes like that. Well, that was until 1996 when along came a new movie that said, hold my Furby fuckers. I'm going to light some candles. I'm going to cut our hands. We're going to tip it in a cup. We're going to drink it. And then we're going to summon a demon. That's right. Today, me and Mark are going to call the corners. It's The Craft.
To the other kids at St. Bernard Academy, they were the girls who didn't belong.
Whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
They're witches.
But after years of being on the outside...
Why'd you lie about me?
I don't want to go out with you again. Please, stop begging. It's pathetic.
4 girls are about to discover the dark side.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit? Black magic.
We can make things happen. I mean, this is it. This is real.
Columbia Pictures welcomes you to the witching hour.
Check it out. Her spell is working. Sit.
The Craft.
watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Great
Cool.
trailer.
It really makes me miss the voiceover, man. I wish he would make like a resurgence again in trailers.
Yeah, just do like some big like horror blockbusters. Like do the Halloween series this week on Halloween.
Yeah.
Like
He's fantastic though. They don't make them like that anymore. Even if like you just got like say like the Ghostbusters sequels. If you were doing a sequel to like a really cool 90s movie where like the original trailers had the voiceover, man, just do it again. You know, just bring that back just for your trailer, just as like a little nostalgia book. I think that would be great.
yeah, and I love the trailer guy. Like in the 90s, he was like every trailer. This summer, you will be wowed and amazed by Sharknado. Like he's great. I think he's amazing. I'm going to say something here that's a bit of a hot take. We shouldn't be covering this movie. This is the least horror movie we've ever covered.
I don't think that's true. I think it's definitely grounded within the elements. I don't think it's necessarily a jump scare movie, but it's a witch movie. It's dealing with supernatural, paranormal. It's got some decent jump scares here, there, and everywhere. And I would say we have definitely covered less horror-centric movies than that on the show.
Do you think? Name one. Don't
Jaws?
say Predator or we're going to... Fuck off. I thought you were going to go with Predator.
And Predator, Jurassic Park. I think this falls more within the horror genre than those movies.
Do you think? Like, I always thought it did. And then when I sat and watched it, I was like, it's kind of like watching Dawson's Creek with magic.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't think we are... Given our age now, I don't think we are the target audience for this movie.
We're
at all.
100% we are not the target audience, not even close to being the target audience.
And I felt that this time around. I felt that watching this movie. Like, I loved this movie growing up. I had two movies that I used to watch like back to back on VHS. And it was this, and it was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I used to own them both, and I used to watch them both religiously, and I used to love this movie. So when we were going to do it for the show, I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I've wanted to watch The Craft again for so long. And I just knew it wasn't for me. And that's not to say it's a bad movie. We'll get into all that. I just mean, like, I felt dated by the terms of the movie. I was like, oh, man, like, I feel wrong watching this teen drama-y thing unfold. Like, this is the kind of stuff teenagers would really enjoy.
Yeah.
But now it just kind of doesn't sit right.
If it makes you feel better, all of the main cast were in their 20s. The girl who plays Rochelle was 28 when she filmed this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't nothing like that. I didn't feel predatorial.
You lying bastard.
I didn't. No, I thought they were all extremely, extremely beautiful women. I found that's not what I was saying. I didn't get a predatorial feel from it. I just felt like it just felt very cheesy and the OC Dawson Creek type One Tree Hill stuff going on, and I just couldn't relate to a lot of it. Is what I meant. Not not lock me up.
Catholic schoolgirls. Catholic schoolgirls.
No, that certainly wasn't what I meant.
Listeners score the movies here. They've scored this a 4 out of 5. Letterboxd coming at a 3.5 out of 5. Is Gladys the target audience for this movie? Where do you think
someone needs to unplug this bitch, man? Why is she still here?
She's actually a very accurate scoring tool, probably better than most of the sites we use.
Where's she at this week?
She is at a 4.5 out of 5. She really vibed with this movie. She said it is the best witch movie of a generation.
What year did Hocus Pocus come out? Same generation, I think.
Yeah, it was the same generation.
97, 98? Yeah, Hocus Pocus is much better.
Depends. I think Hocus Pocus is aimed at a younger audience than The Craft.
Roald Dahl, The Witches, also a better movie.
Also aimed at a younger audience. But yeah, all three of those are great movies as well. The Witches is scarier than this.
Yeah, especially at the end of that movie. It's horrifying.
Yeah, it really is. This is a spoiler-heavy show. We will give plot, we will give narrative, we will give everything. Here is your warning.
Okay, I'm going to explain this shit to you like you're 5. Get your eyes checked. Read the damn episode title. I don't want to hear any bitching, any complaining about how, oh, there's spoilers. No, read it. If you've not seen it, do not listen.
And I haven't got a new one yet. I am recording with Heather again soon. I completely forgot. We got way too deep into the Black Dahlia conspiracies on true crime, and it completely slipped my mind.
Oh, I'll message her myself and remind her to give you the nudge.
But do you know, it's not going to be long, probably 4 weeks away, where Heather will be here and she can do one live.
Oh, we could do that. We could set her up and give her something to whinge about.
Yeah.
Like, not tell her that's what we're going to do and then just naturally flow it in and see if she falls for it. And then we can just snip the sound bite out of it.
She's not going to fall for it now. She listens to the show and you've just told her what we're going to do.
Well, she says she listens. Let's really see if she does. Let's put her to the test and see if she actually does.
Your inbox will ping about how far are we in? About 10 minutes. So about 11 minutes after the episode drops, you're going to get a message from Heather. What you saying about me? Let's get into this movie. We open with witchcraft, 3 witches casting a spell. And these are the 3 main witches. So this is Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle. And then we get the title card. I really like the opening, just this quick, it's like 30 seconds, but it just instantly sets the tone. This is what I'm doing. This is what we're playing with. I'm on board straight away.
Yeah, it does. And they have an incredible soundtrack throughout this entire movie. It's probably one of the greatest soundtracks of films of the 90s. And I really realized that this time around watching it, how incredible most of the music is and how much it probably shaped me and my musical tastes that have gone on to grow throughout my life. As I said, I watched this movie quite a lot when I was younger. In hindsight now, I love the Smith song that they use in this movie. I think it's fantastic, but they use a cover in this, which I didn't realize up until now. And the cover is dreadful.
They do. And I'm going to give you a fun fact now. So they couldn't afford the rights to the actual version of the Smith song. But when they made the series Charmed, the Smith song is the theme tune to Charmed, and that is the actual Smith song. And they could afford that, but only because they were riding the wave of the craft.
Are the two connected? Not obviously story-wise, but I mean, is the same people involved in this go on to make Charmed, or is it just you like the fact that they used the song in this and thought, well, we'll nick that and put it in our show?
Yeah, the same as they nicked everything. Charmed is an absolute rip-off of the craft.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well say it now. I mean, regardless of what me and you come to a decision on based on our opinions in this movie, one thing that this movie deserves a lot of credit for is the pop culture phenomenon that it spawned from it. I mean, stuff like Charmed, like you said. I mean, then you've got things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't think any of this stuff would have existed without this movie. There was nothing like this that I can think of, anything that really came before this, and it just sparked a generation of teen romancy drama stuff with a hint of supernatural thrown in there. And I think all the stuff that's come since, and again, like if we didn't have Charmed, we didn't have Buffy, for all its sins, we probably never would have had Twilight and all the rest of it that came after that. And I think a lot of it is owed to the craft.
Yeah, or blamed on the craft.
Oh, blamed on the craft, yeah. I'm probably going to go more down the blamed route. But yeah, it's. I think that's where it all spawns from. And I don't think any of that would have happened without this movie.
No, I don't. We meet Sarah on a plane with her dad and her stepmom, and they arrive in California and head up to their new house. I want to know what the dad does for a living, that he can buy a fuck off great big mansion in like the top end of LA, and he's never, ever, ever at work. You don't see him do any work in this movie. He's bought this multi-million-pound house. It's just that they're super rich. I think it's important to highlight how wealthy Sarah's family are.
I mean, they go to a private Catholic school. I think it's a given, really, is it not? But to be fair, though, we only see the dad twice in this movie, do we not? Once at the beginning, once at the end.
Yeah, he pops up in the middle as well.
Does he?
But he's not doing a whole lot.
No. Do they give any context to where the rest of her family is? Because we never see her mum or anything like that either.
We find out that her mum died giving birth to her.
Right. Okay.
I
didn't find that out up until now, but yeah.
That's one of the major plot points of the movie.
And again, like I said, I loved it growing up, but watching it this time, I really struggled to relate to a lot of it. And it was hard to sort of keep focus on the dilemmas and stuff that they were trying to go through, because I just couldn't relate to it, and I found myself getting increasingly distracted.
You doom scrolled while watching it, didn't you?
I did a little bit, yeah, because again, like I'll say it now, I do feel like this movie, clocking in at 1 hour and 40 minutes, I think there is some issues with pacing here, and I do think this would have benefited a lot more from being a tighter 90. And there is some certain places where you could easily shave off 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
I noticed it this time around. I was like, oh, this is really, really dragging now. Come on, let's get going. Let's get going.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is the fact that they could shave it off, or the fact that you and me have probably seen this movie 100+ times, and we want it to get past this bit because we know where it's going.
I think maybe that's it as well. I think that's half the issue when you go back and watch movies from your childhood that you loved so much, that when you know what's coming up, you're more waiting in anticipation for those particular scenes than you are focusing on the bloat that you've seen a million times before already.
Yeah.
So that's probably a factor in it. And I think, again, like, I just want to make it clear, like, I really love this movie, and I know I'm picking it apart a little bit, and it's not because I dislike it. It's just because, again, it just struggled to relate to it a lot this time around.
The snake man arrives at the house, so a homeless guy comes in and he's carrying a snake, and Sarah screams and falls on the floor, and the dad comes down and chases him away with a poker. And then we get into the first day of school. Now, we see the three witches again, and they're talking about their horoscope, and Bonnie's saying that the horoscope is going to bring them something new, and she thinks it's the 4th. I do need to draw attention, though, to the fact that Nancy has an actual noose in her locker.
I thought this was cool. I was like, that's so emo. I love it.
Yeah, there is no school in the world that would allow that now.
No, definitely not.
Not even close. We go into French class and we meet Billy Loomis, who's Chris in this movie. And this is where Bonnie sees Sarah do magic on her desk. So she balances a pencil and the pencil spills all on. This effect still now looks great.
I think the effects throughout this entire movie are fantastic. They all hold up as far as I'm concerned. There is one in particular that doesn't, and there's a reason for it, which is we'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, I mean, this one is really, really cool, because like I was watching it and I was like, you couldn't physically do that. Like, it's impossible. And the thing that really stood out to me as well is, like, you see it from a distance, and you're like, oh, the only way a pencil would be able to stay upright like that is if it was spinning like a spinny top. Mm-hmm. And then it focuses in on it, and it's really, really slowly turning, almost like it's driving like a screw into the table.
Yeah, and it's
really cool.
The thing is, it's such a cool effect as well, because it's pushing down hard enough that it's breaking the lead in the pencil as it's turning. I think it looks amazing. This kind of tells the others that Nancy definitely is the 4th. And in science class, Sarah asks to sit down with them. Nancy is amazing. She just looks at her, doesn't say a word, just glares at her. And then as she goes away, Bonnie's like, you can sit with us. And Sarah's like, no, fuck you guys. You had your chance. Like, and this is kind of the teen drama that I don't get. It's been a long time since I've been in school. We get quite a good scene with Chris and Sarah, so Billy Loomis, and he kind of does this, introduces all the characters, and he says that Nancy's a slut, and he says that Bonnie's got horrific burns all over her, and he doesn't say anything about Rochelle, and we'll talk about the way that character's handled and how the actress was dealt with, like treated around the movie as well, because there was some real racism in this movie, not just what they were portraying, but from the production team, from everyone, from MTV. MTV are bad.
Oh, that's disgusting. I did not know that.
I didn't either. And it was only when I researched into it, I'm like, that's awful. I'll burn one of them now. So when they done the MTV Film Awards that year, all three of the white actresses were invited, and Rochelle's character was not invited. And it was only because the other cast members stood up and went, what the fuck? Why has she not been invited? That she was given an invite.
Wow. Did she turn up to it as well after the invite?
Yeah.
I would have blatantly refused. I'd have been like, no, fuck you guys.
Yeah, I would have as well. But yeah, she did go. But yeah, there was lots of little things, almost like casual racism, which I've got no time for at all. And this in the script was one where they didn't know what to say, so they just didn't say anything. So he's like, she's a slut, she's covered in burns, and yeah, there's her. That's kind of what they've done.
Right.
At this point,
her completely.
Yeah, at this point, I had no idea that Chris was a bad dude. He seems genuinely nice. He's like showing around. He's like, oh, you can come watch me do football practice after. Like, he seems like a nice, caring guy.
Yeah, he falls into that trope of he's the jock, but he's also like part of this jock world, but doesn't quite fit within like his bonehead friends around him. Because you meet his friends earlier on as well, and they're like goofing around and making stupid jokes, and he's just sort of like the cool, laid back, reserved one of the group.
Yeah.
So I kind of had this idea that that's the direction it was going to take with him, and he was just going to be the nice guy, and he was going to be the shoulder to cry on for her through her ordeal, whatever events may occur to her in this movie.
Yeah, see, instantly I went, he's going to be the love interest. He's a nice guy. He's going to,
I suppose.
Yeah. Sarah goes and watches him at practice. And I think it was unintentional. I think it's just because it was on her way home. I don't think she purposely went there. And this is where the other three girls come and approach her, and they invite her for coffee. And she agrees. When they're walking down to the shops, they spot her scars on her wrist. And she explains that she tried to kill herself. And Bonnie's like, oh, you've done it the right way as well. She's like, there's a right way to slit your wrist. She's like, yeah, it's up, not left and right. And I think they handled, considering the time period, I think they handled the topic of suicide quite well.
Yeah, because it is quite a focal point of the story in this movie.
Yeah, it's a really delicate. So if you do it wrong, you almost glamorize it. But in this, they do emphasize that it's something she shouldn't have done and she didn't want to, but she felt no, like they deal with it properly. They actually tackle it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, but in a way, they also do give you a how to do it properly kit if you were thinking of this, and especially considering the target audience of this movie, I thought it was a bit irresponsible to showcase the right way to do it, because obviously the problem with doing it that way is that it is irreparable in many cases to fix. You will bleed out immediately, whereas the other way is more damaging but can quite easily be resolved. In a way, sometimes not. Sometimes I don't know too much myself. I've never been through the process. I'm not a self-harmer, but I do know that that way is a very severe way to do it vertically, as it does seriously cause harm and is unable to be stitched back together by doctors.
Yeah.
So I do think it's quite irresponsible for him to highlight that in the movie. As an adult now, I appreciate the little gist of it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool that they did that. But when you're showcasing this to a younger audience, vulnerable younger audience,
yeah,
especially with like the whole kind of emo grungy vibe that it's giving off, and the target audience of this movie, it was one thing that really stood out to me when I watched it back the other night, and I was like, that's probably something you should have cut out of the whole lot of stuff that could be cut.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, they could have done it better. Yeah, they handle it very well the way they talk about it. But yeah, you're right. They do highlight the fact that this is how to do it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. The witch shop. We meet Liaro. I like the shop. I've got some facts about the shop later. But the girls all steal stuff from this shop, and the woman blatantly knows they come in and rob her every other day. And Sarah doesn't. Sarah pays for her stuff, and the woman's asking her what she knows. She's like, I don't really know much about magic. She's like, you need this, and she gives her a book called The Craft, which is, I'm assuming, where the title of the movie came from.
Yeah.
The street at night is fucking terrifying. Like I don't know what part of Gotham they are in, but this is not a street you want to be walking down.
Yeah, it's like when Macaulay Culkin's walking through Central Park at night.
Yeah, like you've got like prostitutes, and you've got like a preacher there saying the end is nigh, and then the snake dude from our house is there, and he's like, "Oh, I know you. Quick, come back. I had a dream about you, and in my dream you were dead." It's like, I think her reaction to sprint across the road is correct. I think I would do the same as a fully grown man. I would run away.
Yeah, considering he was at her house like 24 hours ago as well.
Yeah. They blatantly kill a homeless man. Am I right in thinking that?
I don't think they do. I think Sarah does.
I'm
I
glad
don't
you
think
said
any
that.
of the other three have any abilities whatsoever until they're in her presence. I think they all idolize the idea of being a witch, and I think she is like the one true source. And I think when they're within her aura, she kind of almost shares a little bit of her powers. I don't think they did anything in that moment. I don't think it's until later on when they all start coming together and they do the power of four and stuff that they actually start to gain their own personal perspective of abilities.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly how I take this movie, that she had the power and they don't. They're just three girls who are a bit gothy who like magic.
Yeah, that's exactly how I perceived it. And you could even go as far as, no, you couldn't really. I was going to say you could be like, she is just the carry of this movie and everything that happens is something that she's. But again, no, you could do that. You could say that she created this entire movie, because they even have a conversation where they explain that her magic doesn't work how she wants it to. It's immediately after this anyway, immediately after the bush crash scene, they kill the guy in the road and they run off to the park and they're all sat down talking like, oh my God, did we just do that? Did we just do that? And this is where they talk about Sarah's powers and they say, how long have you done this? And she's like, well, it doesn't really work how I want it to do. Sometimes I want it to rain and then a pipe will burst in my house. And sometimes I want it to just be quiet and I'll go deaf for 3 days. So in a way, you could say that she wants to be so included within this group that she wills them to have the powers that they gain from this moment on. So in a way, you could say that she is the only one who has powers in this movie, and them being in her presence is what makes them have the ability she does.
Yeah, and this is kind of how magic works. It's sending intention out. So if she wants them to have powers, that is her intention into the world, and she's got that ability, they will get powers. So yeah, I fully buy into that. They also explain here about Manon, who's the god or the deity, and they explain that he's all encompassing. And they use the example, if the god and the devil had a football match, he would be the stadium that they would play on.
Yeah.
And it's a really simple way of explaining that, like, the god and the devil are nothing to what this god is, or this entity or ancient deity or whatever he is. I think it's really clever, really simple, and it's just easy to understand. They don't make it difficult.
No. And in a way, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily even need to understand it anyway. It's just, that's it. They give you as much exposition in this movie as you need to be able to grasp from it. It's just he is a higher power that they're praying to or worshipping, or whichever way you want to put it.
Yeah, Nancy starts saying that they should call the corners. And she says, this is where you bring Manon into you, and he makes everything better. And Sarah's like, nothing makes everything better, because she's lost her mum and she knows that sometimes things can't be fixed. And she gets up and she storms off. She ends up on a roof with Billy Loomis. He's an arsehole. This is where I twigged he was an arsehole. They're sat there and, like, a couple of the other friends are there and they go and they're kissing and he's like, oh, do you want to come back to my house where there are no parents? He's
not an arsehole for that. He's a chancer, don't get me wrong. He's certainly a chancer, but I don't think he's an arsehole for that. It's what he does next which makes him an arsehole. But at this moment, I think I was just like, yeah, you're just a horny teenage boy.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I'm not up for that. And at the time, he's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. No worries at all. I'll take you home. When she gets into school the next day, he has told the entire school that they had sex and that she was the worst. Yeah, she was the worst lay ever. I admire the fact that she goes and confronts him, because I think in a real, like, high school situation, this would not happen. but she walks straight up to him and like goes to talk to him, and his mate steps in and is like, I'm really sorry, Chris is not talking to anyone now. You can make an appointment and maybe come back next week.
But that's it. It is like that, though, isn't it? He knows what he's done, and he doesn't want to confront it. So his henchmen step in and deal with it for him.
Yeah,
school is like that.
Yeah, it kind of is. Where did you sit in the hierarchy of school? I picture you sat with the nerdy kids.
Oh, charming. No, I was a nerdy kid, but I was in with the cool kids because I smoked. So I was like a smoker. So I was like in with the cool kids, but I was like a massive horror, Lord of the Rings nerd, while all the people I was associating with were like into Rockport jackets and boots and drinking cider on street benches, which I obviously attended with them and hung around. But I was always like not like the weird kid, but like I dressed weird. I wore quirky clothes where everyone was wearing like trackies tucked in socks and Nike Air Maxes and stuff. But I listened to heavy metal music and dressed completely different to they did. But I was just part of the gang, and it all just started because I was a smoker.
Yeah, see, I went through phases. So from like 13 to, I don't know, probably 12 to 14, I was long hair, long jacket, like proper grunge kid. And then I went away for the summer holidays before I went into like, I think it was like year 10. And when I come back, I was like sharp hair, sharply dressed, like completely different person. Because over that summer, I had some sort of revelation where I decided long hair and moping around probably wasn't the best for my long-term future.
Yeah, I stuck with it.
He makes an ass of her again because she doesn't confront him very loudly. He's like, look, I don't want to have sex with you again. Stop begging. It's really desperate. Okay, bye-bye now. And walks away. And you're like, you bastard.
Yeah.
We cut to Rochelle diving, and her bully is sat down watching her dive. And when she goes to dive, she shouts shark, and Rochelle crashes into the water, belly flops effectively. And she also goes and confronts her bully, and she's like, "What? Why do you do this to me?" And the bully hits her with a full-on racist N-word, and I was like, "Wow, okay." She's like, "I don't like you because you are the N-word," and I was like, this is in like a movie aimed at teens. This is. I turned into like a dad. I was like, "This is so not allowed."
Yeah, it was harsh. It was very harsh. But I do feel, not that it's justified at all, but I do feel like that is a very good arc. And probably one of the more engaging arcs of this entire movie is the development of her and this bully and how the story progresses between the two of them.
Yeah, and this arc wasn't going to be there either. Before they cast the actress who plays Rochelle, this was going to be an eating disorder. And it was only because they cast the actress who plays Rochelle, who is black, that they changed it to a race-driven revenge plot.
Right. Okay, cool. Interesting. And like I say, I think it works very well in the movie. I think the choice of language in this moment was unnecessary and could have been displayed differently. But again, it's hard when you see stuff like this because I'm on the white privilege side of the fence. So to me, to hear this stuff, I'm like, that's awful. But people who have experienced situations like this probably think, no, that's real. That was part of my life growing up. Like, yeah, show it how it is so people understand it. You know, like I'm not in any position to be offended by it, but I am. So it's like it's really contrasting for me to voice an opinion on something I don't fully understand or have any sort of, I don't know how to phrase it,
experience
really.
with.
Yeah, for me to turn around and say I'm really offended by that is like wild because I've not lived it. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not right. And to see it makes me very uncomfortable. I'm like, that is not cool. Yeah. But people who maybe have experienced it want it showcased this way so people can learn from it. I don't know. No. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but what I'm trying to say is that regardless of my opinion on the situation, I am in no way qualified to pass opinion on it.
No, and I'm not either, but I'm going to say it is wrong and it shouldn't be said. We see Bonnie at hospital. She's undergoing an experimental procedure for her to deal with her Freddy Krueger back. I like this as well. I think this looks really good. All the makeup effects on her back look great. Like all really, really good. Her scream is a bit much though. I've had tattoos, and like
you say that though, but have you ever had a tattoo of a scar tissue?
Yes.
And scar tissue is like the most sensitive of skin. So like having a repeated needle into that scar tissue, like it looked excruciating. I understood what she was going through. I was like, yeah, I get it. That looks like it fucking wrecks, man.
Do you have numbing gel when you have your tattoos done?
No. I got my full chest done like that. I had like my full chest done. Yeah. And when I got like right there in the middle of my sternum, the actual artist who was doing it had to like hold me down because it was that painful. Like I honestly, if you ever get your breastplate done, it's excruciatingly painful, and you feel it up your neck and in your ear, but it comes up both sides, and it's like, ah! So like he had to like literally pin me down. He's like, look, dude, I'm not letting you move. This is gonna hurt like fuck, but I'll be about 20 minutes and you can get up and take a breath. I was like, just do it, man. It honestly, I've never felt a pain like it since.
Yeah, no, I've done backs and arms, and that's enough for me. I like tattoo.
The inside of your arm there as well. That really, really hurts because I mean, if you'd like nip your inside of your arm now, you can imagine what it's like getting a tattoo there.
Yeah, it hurts when it creeps around the side of your backs onto your ribs as well, because I've got some that come down the side of the ribs and they hurt.
Yeah, no, I haven't done ribs yet because I have heard horror stories that they're terrible. But
yeah, no, I've got like one of the tattoos on my back creeps just round the side, and like as soon as it touched rib, it was like, oh.
Have you got a lower back tattoo like a tramp stamp?
I have.
What you're trying to tell me?
I have. It's a tribal stamp.
Oh no, it's an actual tramp stamp.
No, I haven't. I've got a dragon on my back, a full size.
Oh, you have. Yes, yeah. I know you have
that. We see Nancy's home life, and her home life is not good. She's got a drunk mum and a sleazy stepdad, but they don't give a huge amount of context to her life. I like this setup for each individual character. We get a little bit of each of them, and it shows the hardships that they're facing, and instantly develops the motivation as to why they want to change their life and what's going to come next. Like everything ties together really neatly.
Yeah,
it's written really well.
I think so. Yeah, I do think so. I think everything ties up together really well in this instance, and then you also get the payoff for it at the end.
Yeah, we get a field trip. We get the bus, and then we get the famous scene where they get off the bus and he goes, "Watch out for those weirdos, girls." And Nancy's like, "We are the weirdos, mister."
Yeah.
Great line. We get like a pledge of allegiance now as they create their coven, where they put a blade against their neck and basically say they'd rather run on the blade than betray their sisters. And they all cut their fingers, which is very unsanitary, and drip it in a cup and all drink it. And they do their spells, and I like this is great. So they pray for what they want. So you've got Rochelle says that she wants for people to be kind to her the way she's kind to others. You've got Bonnie wants to be beautiful on the outside and on the inside. What is Nancy? I can't remember. I know what
Nancy doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I can't remember what Sarah asked for. So Sarah asked for she wants Chris to like her.
Yes.
And Nancy says she wants all the power of Manon.
She doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything in this moment.
Nothing at all. I thought she
nothing at all. Nothing. No, she doesn't say a single thing. She's the only one out of them that doesn't say anything. She just thinks it. And then that's when we later find out that she wants like the wealth. She doesn't want to be white trash, but she doesn't say anything in this instance. It's later on she does the Manon thing at the beach.
We get the butterflies float down. Again, looks great. It kind of just confirms their spell works. Back at school now, Chris is obsessed with Sarah. He's following her around, and he's like, "I'm really sorry about the other night." She's like, "Have you told your friends?" "No." "You will though." Yeah, I'm going to go tell them. I'll tell them straight away.
I think the one thing that I really like about this switching his character here is his confusion by it. Like he he's like, it's almost like he realizes what he's doing, but he has no control over it. And I think he showcases that really well. I think the actor Skeet Ulrich is fantastic in this moment.
Yeah, he does a great job. Like he has to carry Sarah's books, then she's like, "Oh, carry Bonnie's books as well." And it's when he sits down, like he stood there, and Sarah goes, "Sit," and he sits down. He looks over at his friends, and his friends are like got their arms up in the air, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like,
Yeah.
He looks back and he's like, I don't know, but I'm staying here.
Yeah, and she's like, "Sit," and he does like a dog.
You have a wife, so do I. We both sit.
Yeah.
Sit,
I fell
lay,
for it, man.
yeah, sit, lay, fetch. Like all of those are commands I am fully on board with. They get a sleepover, so they all have a sleepover, and they do light as a feather, stiff as a board. Did you do this at school?
No, never.
Okay, I done this at school. It does work.
Did you also go to pillow fights and have pajama parties?
I didn't. Did do light as a feather, stiff as a board, and you can lift someone with a couple of fingers. They won't float if you take your fingers away, but you can lift them up and back down again.
No, you can't do that.
You can. I guarantee you can. I have done it. I have lifted someone up. 3 people lift someone up to like shoulder height and back down again with no effort whatsoever.
No, you're not Bruce Lee. You didn't do that. You didn't do that.
I did. And anyone who else has done that, call into the show. Tell Mark that it is possible. Even better, if you've got people at home, do it, video it, and then send it in, and we'll play it on the air.
I'm calling bullshit on that right now, so prove me wrong.
But do you know, I might round up the boys later, and I might actually prove you wrong.
Yeah, I think you should. And then I think you should post a reel of it the same day that this episode comes out, so everyone else can call you out on your bullshit as well.
Okay, fine. That's a job for me today. We now get a montage of friendship and magic. Great.
Yeah, I didn't have any issue with this.
Also, a cameo of the TV series Bewitched in this, and I love that series.
Yeah. Is this where they do the hair color change thing?
Not quite yet.
No, I thought that was part of this montage.
No, not yet.
It's where she comes in and she's all like freshly beautiful and things like that. She looks stunning, by the way. Neve Campbell in this looks amazing. While we're on the topic of Neve Campbell, actually, I've always cast doubt on her abilities as an actress. I thought she was very pigeonholed and just, she's a Scream final girl. She doesn't do a lot else. I just want to say now that she's fucking fantastic in this movie, and she has one of the best character arcs out of everybody. The way that she starts off as this really sort of sheveled inside herself girl, really unconfident, greasy hair, and then when she gets this makeup, she's this sort of like glow up, if you will. She just turns into something different, and it just showcases her range much more than any movie that I've ever seen her in. I know she's done quite a lot of stuff outside of the Scream movies, but I've never seen any of them. And I think she's really great in this movie.
Yeah, I think all of the cast in this are pretty good. I don't think
there's any I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they're all incredible, but I think they're all serviceable in what they do. I would never look at this movie and be like, you're bad, that wasn't very good. There's not a moment where we can be like, whoa, that was fucking wooden. We'll deal with that next week. But
don't even mention next week. I'm still annoyed.
But I think they're all really, really good for what they are. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say any of them deserve any Oscars for their performances, but I just think that everybody was great in this movie.
Yeah, the spell on the racist girl is great. During the montage, Sarah pulls some of her hair out and they braid it into Rochelle's hair, and then we see that the bullies. Rochelle says, "Well, what will happen to her?" And Sarah says, "Nothing if she leaves you alone." Cut to the swimming pool where Rochelle's about to dive again, and she's mean again. And all of a sudden, she's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And like starts pulling big clumps of her hair out. And Rochelle does the most perfect dive ever. I think that this is like these punishments are deserved for what they done. They got the right punishment.
I think so. And I think one thing that this movie does really well is it's a movie about witches, but everything's done on such a basic and minimal level. Like it's digestible in terms of they're not flying around on broomsticks, they're not waving Harry Potter wizard wands, you know, like it's I think that's one thing that's really good about The Craft is how almost grounded in a way that it is. In terms of
Yeah.
being a witch movie, it's very grounded, is what I thought.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We get another Bonnie visit to the doctors, and as they are wiping the scars with an alcohol solution, like the scars are just wiping away, revealing perfectly clean skin. And this is where she comes back to school with her big reveal that she is hot. And
Very hot.
to be fair, what they done is they greased up her hair and stuck her in a jacket. And then when they wanted her to look hot, they took the jacket off of her and washed her hair. That's the only changes they made.
Yeah, put a bit of makeup on her, but she looked fantastic. When she comes bouncing through the classroom, I was like, yes, you look amazing.
Yeah, and that's fine because she was in her 20s when she filmed this, so no judgment from me.
No judgment from me.
Nancy's spell is not working. And this is where Rochelle explains that I think she doesn't want to be white trash or something. I've told her, you're white, you just need to deal with it. She goes home that night and she goes for a shower, and then her stepdad gets really leery and tries to look up her skirt. The mum has a go at the dad, and the dad goes to hit the mum, and Nancy just stands and stares at him. All the lights go like blow out, and he has a heart attack. Again,
Yes.
Deserved. Like all
Yeah.
of these punishments they fit the crime for me.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of keeping you on side with these witches. There's no point where you're like, you are bad people. You know, you're all like, yeah, you go, girls, girl power to you.
Yeah, exactly. We get to see the life insurance guy comes round. He's like, "Oh, with a policy this size, we need to have a meeting." And the mum's like, "What you want about? What size?" And he's left them $146,000, which in today's money is still not mega money. It's 300,000. But they buy
about $250,000.
Yeah, they get this big penthouse apartment. The apartment is amazing. But
Really
I want
cool.
that apartment. It is that apartment's like living room is bigger than my house.
I like the concept of an apartment, but I don't like the idea of not being on the ground floor. Like, I'd want the view, but I wouldn't want to have to do the stairs every day or the lift every day. You know, like it's an inconvenience. Like, I like going to hotels and stuff when I'm on holiday, but the higher up I am, the more annoyed I am when I get there.
Honest to God, that is the most Carl Pilkington thing you've ever said.
You must understand what I mean, though.
No, I genuinely have no issue with using a lift that takes like 10 seconds to get to.
Do you know what I think the problem is? I think the problem is my wife. I think my wife's the problem in this situation because she forgets everything. Like if we go out for dinner or anything like that, oh, I think I've left the hair curlers on. So like we can be 10, 15 minutes walking down the road and I have to sprint back to make sure she's turned something off. And then I'll catch up to her again. She's like, oh, I think I've left my purse on the kitchen table. Not like she fucking uses her purse anyway, but it's like, and I have to run back and go get her purse. You know, and it's just like, I think that's my issue. So whenever we're away and we pack up for a beach day or anything like that, not only have I then got to walk back from the beach, I've then got to climb like 10 flights of stairs to get up to our apartment again to get the fucking shit that she's forgotten in the first place. I'm going to stop now because I'm just ranting unnecessarily about my wife. I love her, honestly. I really do love her. But she does piss me off.
And this is where we get the throwing a glamour. This is where Sarah basically changes her hair from brown to blonde and then back again. And this is really cool. Really cool, simple bit of magic that I think works perfectly.
It is, but this is one of the things that I wanted to pinpoint back again about the practical effects and the weaker elements of it. And this is my biggest gripe, is the fact that it looks like a wig. However, fun fact, whether you have this or not, I don't know, she actually was wearing a wig for the entirety of this movie because she just finished filming. Why is my mind gone blank on this? Thingy Records.
Yeah, she had just finished filming Empire Records, where she
Empire
had her head
Records,
shaved.
and she had to shave her head for it. So she was wearing a wig for the entirety of the movie. But when she switches to the blonde one, it looks really obvious. I'm like, that's a fucking wig, man. Like, you could have done better considering how good everything else is around it. That's one thing that always annoys me when I watch this movie, because she's wearing a wig the entire movie, and it looks fantastic and real.
Yeah, but that one doesn't. It's like the blondest of blonde wig from the joke shop that they went, that'll do.
Yeah, it's like something from a drag show, and I was like, that looks stupid.
We get a visit from Chris at 3 a.m. Where he's outside Sarah's window. He's like, I was thinking, I know. He's like, I tried calling you. Why didn't you answer? She's like, it's 3 a.m. He's like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, I was thinking we could move in together. She's like, I'm not ready for that level of commitment. And the dad comes out and shines a torch in his face, like, can I help you? He's like, no, nobody can help me. And again, because he's aware that he shouldn't be doing it, but he just can't stop himself.
That's right, yeah.
Back to the witch shop, and this is where we get the witch who owns the shop explains that whatever you put out into the world, you'll get back ×3. So if you do something really horrible, that's coming back on you ×3. And the same if you do something good, that comes back on you ×3. And Nancy wants to buy a book on invoking the spirit. And the woman's like, oh, you must be a really powerful witch to do this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, look, just sell me the book, lady. I don't need a lecture. Sell me the book. Look, I have money today.
Yeah, I have money now. Look at me.
Yeah, I'm rich now, so I can afford to buy the book. I don't need to steal it. They all head down to the beach and they go to invoke the spirit of Manol. This scene's awesome. So it looks brilliant. Set design's incredible. They all stand on like the sides of the pentagram with the candles, and they call the corners, and there's lightning flashes, and then there's a big flash, and they all fall asleep or all pass out. When they wake up, Nancy is walking on water. This looks shit.
Now, let's just talk about this in movies, because it always bugs me. And again, this is probably going to be a really, really silly nitpick. But when people walk on water, especially when they're walking in the sea. All right, my gripe is with the sea. When they're walking on water in the sea, like, they walk as if they're walking along a solid platform, when really it would be like walking on a bouncy castle with 5 children jumping up and down around you.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to do that? And you're like, oh, yeah. That's what it would be like walking on water in the sea. But the fact that she like glides across it, it just annoys me. I'm like, and I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does every time I see it.
This effect looks bad as well, because for that exact reason. For that exact reason. On the beach, there are a selection of sharks, only 2 of which are native to the waters around LA, but we'll overlook that. You've got a great white, you've got a mako, you've got a hammerhead, you've got some others. And
tiger sharks, there's all sorts there, isn't there?
And Nancy's like, oh, these are my gifts. He sent them. They're mine. They're mine. He's still in me. I can feel him in me. Like that whole bit where she's going, I can still feel him in me. I was like, oh, this is the wrong wording. Whoever wrote this script, this is basically like, it's a possession kind of thing, but it's worded very much like, he's in me. I like it. I love the way it feels in me. There's loads of that. And it's like, do you know what? I'm not on board with this. The girls go out for a night out, and they're driving down in Nancy's flash sports car she's got now, because she got $100,000, somehow bought £1 million apartment, and also bought a really super
car.
Yeah. And as they're going down, Nancy's changing the traffic lights from red to green using a glamour. And Sarah's like, look, we need to be careful. We need to stop throwing stuff out that's negative, because it's going to come back. And Nancy's like, oh, so you want, yeah. She's like, so you want out of the circle? She's like, no, I just want us not to be assholes, because one day you're going to change that light and it's not going to change. So Nancy just doesn't change it and runs a red light.
Yeah, she's basically saying we're abusing the gift kind of thing. Yeah, and it's going to come back full circle.
Yeah, back in the school, the racist girl is now completely bald. Like all round the top, got like a monk's haircut with long hair down the sides. And this is where Rochelle feels a bit bad. We get Chris is harassing Sarah again, going, look, come to dinner with me. All I want to do is sit and talk to you. And eventually she gives in and says, yeah, okay, we'll go for dinner. They go for a drive. He pulls into a lay-by and he tries to full-on rape her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
awful. She gets away and she goes to her sisters, to the coven.
But in a way, like I again, like I'm not condoning the aspect of rape by any means whatsoever. Let me just spell that out very clearly right now. But this guy is in it, they've done a good job of establishing how in control of his urges he is. So like it doesn't in this moment I was never like, you're a bad dude, you're trying to rape this girl. Clearly he is a bad dude, but it's not, because it's not his fault. He has no interest in her whatsoever. She has brought this on herself by foreshadowing his obsession.
Yeah, it's the magic that's making him do it.
Yeah. So what happens to him later on just feels very unnecessary in a way, because it's like, and Nancy doesn't realize it either, that it's like, hold on, hang on a minute. Like, it's not his fault that he's doing this. You yourselves have caused this situation.
Yeah, and this is where that she goes and meets with the other witches, and this is where Nancy's like, "I'm going to play," and they're like, "No, please don't." She's like, "No, I'm gonna go play with Chris. I'll see you all later." And she heads off to this big wild party that they're having. When she gets there, Chris spots her and he goes over to her because he wants to find out where Sarah is. And Nancy leads him upstairs and tries it on, and he pushes her off. He's like, "No, I'm not interested." And she throws a glamour to make herself look like Sarah. By the time,
cool effect.
Really cool effect. By the time the others arrive, they arrive in a taxi, which made me smile. But by the time they arrive, they get up in the room, Nancy is full on riding him.
Yes. And again, I know we spoke about this off the air, but I have a thing for Fairuza Balk, and I'm like, this was like my teenage crush. I was into her massively growing up, and you just don't get it, do you?
My reply to that message when you said it is, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I'd like to know if I'm on an island. Like, I have weird things. Like, my growing up crushes were Winona Ryder, Christina Ricci, Laura Dern from Jurassic Park.
No. Just no.
And Fairuza Balk, man, I'm down. I'm down with this. The Water Boy. I think it was the Water Boy that did it for me.
Gatorade. Gatorade. He pushes her off and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're all witches and she put a spell on you. You don't actually like her." And he's like, I'm really sorry. She's like, he's sorry. And she has this complete meltdown. And then like her magic blows open the windows and she full on kills him.
Yeah.
Like full on.
And you can tell she's out of control because she's like levitating across the room.
That's a cool effect as well, like, on her tiptoes.
Yeah, really cool.
Good. After this, Sarah does a binding spell on Nancy, and then has some horrific nightmares after she's done it. And
does she complete the? I don't think she completes it. Does she?
No, she completes it. She's just not strong enough to do it. She's not strong enough to bind her.
Because she hasn't invoked Manon at this point. Yeah.
So she does the binding spell, and then the next day at school, they kind of corner Sarah in the toilets, and like, if you want to leave the circle, you might want to leave the town, maybe the state, maybe the country, maybe even the planet. And then as they walk away, Nancy's like, and also don't ever try and use magic on me again. In the olden days, they used to kill witches who turned on their coven. You're like, oh, it's getting.
How do you think she knew that she'd done that? Is it just like a sixth sense kind of thing?
Yeah, like at this point, they're kind of insinuating that Nancy's powerful enough that she can almost read Sarah's mind.
Yeah,
I think that's where they're going with it. Sarah runs out of school and she runs to the witch shop, and this is where Liaro's like, "Look, you need to sort this out. You are a natural witch. Your mother was a witch. You need to come into this back room that I don't take anyone in and look at all the R-rated DVDs and VHS I've got on the shelf. And then you need to invoke the spirit, and then you'll be powerful enough to deal with them." They start doing the ritual, and then there's a big glamour of a fireball that bursts into the shop that's Nancy's doing, and Sarah freaks out and runs home. When she gets home, she starts to hallucinate snakes and bugs. This is gross. Like
they're all hanging from like the trees and stuff in the garden. It's really, really cool.
Snakes real. 3,000 they used for this.
Excuse me. 3,000.
3,000 live snakes to film these.
I'm not really bothered by snakes. It's not really. I understand people have similar phobia like I do with spiders. Had it been spiders in this scene, I would have been absolutely terrified. The snakes represent something though, don't they? Because when they go to do the Manon thing, they all have individual creatures in a glass jar.
They do. Which
one of Nancy's was a snake.
Was a snake. Yeah, I've got that in facts, so we'll save that. The three witches arrive and they're trying to get her to commit suicide. But before they get there, she sees all these things. Before they get there, Nancy rings Sarah and says, "I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry." And Sarah's like, "What are you on about?" She's like, "Have you not seen the news? Turn on the news." As she switches on the news, there's been a plane crash that's killed her stepdad, her dad, and her stepmom.
Yeah.
And then it's after this that the witches arrive and they're trying to convince her to kill herself while floating 6 foot above her front room. Again, this effect looks terrible.
I don't know. I didn't mind this one too much. I think for me, the worst ones was just the wig and the walking on water. Everything else I was quite pleased with throughout. But the thing is, I've been on a major B-movie kick at the minute, like straight to video dog shit movies. So watching something like this was like Avengers level practical CGI for me at the
moment. Sarah refuses to kill herself, and you see a suicide note drop to the floor. And Sarah's like, I didn't write that. She's like, doesn't matter. What's that on your arm? And as she turns her wrists over, Nancy slits her wrists. Sarah runs upstairs and collapses on the floor, and she begins to invoke the spirit while the others are downstairs. And Nancy's like, you two need to go and check she's dead. And they're like, we don't want to. She's like, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, unless you want to join her. So they go upstairs, and this is where Sarah uses her powers. And she throws a glamour out into the hallway that when they look in the mirror, they see. So Bonnie's gone full Freddy Krueger, like all one side of her face is all
fucking
melted.
Incredible practical effects makeup on her. She looks amazing.
Really, really good. And Rochelle is now completely bald. And they see this, freak out, say it's coming back free, run down the stairs, run out the door, and don't even answer Nancy when she's like, where are you going? Come back. Don't leave me. This leads to the showdown between Nancy and Sarah, which is kind of what this whole movie is built towards. Even from the beginning, when Nancy doesn't really want her there, and then she thinks she's trying to take over. Like the whole thing is geared up for these two going head to head. When Sarah steps out of the mirror, that is awesome.
Fucking amazing. How cool does that look?
So
that was like Matrix level stuff where he touches the mirror, but like ahead of its time. I was like, that is fucking incredible. That looks amazing.
Yeah, and also the wounds on her arms have healed. And she's like, I have a message from you from Manon. You're in deep shit. You should have not done this because you are in trouble. And this is where like bugs start falling out of Nancy's clothes and her hair turns to snakes and her fingers turn to snakes. Again, this also looks shit.
I didn't mind this. I thought this was, for the time, I thought this was really cool. I think when you look at the effects in this, I think you've got to appreciate how groundbreaking some of the stuff was in this movie at the time of its release. And I think majority of it still holds up really, really well today. I thought this looked fantastic. It does look slightly dated, but compared to a lot of movies of this era, I still think this is better than most.
Yeah, I'm not moaning about the movie at all. It doesn't take me out of it, but they are not the level of effects that I think they've shown better effects in this movie. I know they could have done this better.
Right.
I think that's my gripe with all of the times there's bad effects. Like they've done things like literally 2 seconds before they've done that step out of the mirror and it looks incredible. And they go from that straight into like Mortal Kombat 2 level, like snakes flicking out of her fingers. I'm like, oh, come on. Like you've done so well.
Yeah, I think it's hard really because you've got to understand that with productions like this, they have a set allocation for visual effects. And you've kind of got to pick and choose your moments. Like the mirror scene is a big focal point and then not a lot happens for a few minutes after that. And then you could almost see that their perspective of, well, we'll disguise this a little bit here and like not focus too much on that. But then the earlier scenes where that is the focal point, it's like, no, this is the only focal point of impact for at least 20 minutes. So this has to look the best. So we're going to spend more of the budget here. So I think you've got to spread it out when you're making a production like this. So like, especially when it comes to the closing act, you're going to have to sort of ration your margins on where you think is going to be the most noticeable. And I think what they did was did the mirror scene, came to this, and because this one happens quite quickly and you don't see it for a long time before you then go into the next big action set piece, I think they kind of thought they could get away with it. And back in the day when this first came out, I think they did.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. But back in the day, like this would not have been a gripe for me. Sarah stops the spell, like clicks her fingers, and all the snakes are gone, all the bugs are gone, and she hits her with arguably the best line of the movie. Relax, it's only magic. And I was like, yes, that is how you treat someone who's been an arsehole. You just throw back at them the horrible things they've done to you. Nancy apologized. She's like, look, that's fine. I don't want to do magic anymore. We're just going to call it a day. I'm really sorry. I'm going to leave. And she said, that's fine. But before you go, Nancy, I bind you. I bind you from doing you harm to yourself. And Nancy fucking flips. Like pulls out a big knife, like sends her flying across the room, flies across the room next to us, like beating on her chest and screaming. A big like chest of drawers comes firing down, and Nancy dives out of the way, and it crushes Sarah against the wall.
I like this scene as well, in particular, because it's done the whole Nightmare on Elm Street 1 thing where they flip the set.
Yeah.
So this is, they changed the camera angle for our perspective and flipped the room in the set when actually Sarah's laid down on her back and Nancy's just crawled on top of her, but it looks as if the two of them are pinned against the wall and the sheets of paper are flying out of the room into them. It's really, really cool, really, really clever. I like this one a lot. I think it's handled very, very well.
Yeah, I really like this. And I like that when Nancy pushes the chest of drawers away, there is a neatly folded Catholic schoolgirl uniform with no schoolgirl in it. And Nancy's like, ugh. And like you can see, she's like, fuck. And she pulls out the knife and she goes to stab. And as she goes to stab, like the body reappears into the clothing. And Sarah kicks her in the face down the hall into a mirror, which shatters. I like this end scene. This is perfect for me. It didn't need to go further than this. Sometime later is what I'm going to say, because there is no context to whether it's been a day, a week, a month, or a decade.
I think it's fairly recently after, because she's still got bandages on her wrists from the cuts that Nancy gave her. So I don't think that was necessarily an illusion in that moment. I think she genuinely cut her.
Yeah.
Because she's got bandages on as if like she's healing from the incident. I would probably say maybe a week, because they have to process Nancy and all the rest of it for what comes after this. So I would say maybe a week.
Yeah, and you can see Sarah's unpacking shopping from her car, and you get Bonnie and Rochelle come to visit to apologise. They're like, we're really sorry. We done those horrible things. She's like, horrible things. You've been trying to kill me. She's like, yeah, we're really sorry about that. And then the dad walks past, like, hi, girls. They're like, hi. It's like, oh, yeah, but by the way, the thing about your dad, that was just a glamour. Like, it was just a prank. And Sarah's like, funny. It's like, yeah, one more thing. Do you still have your powers?
Which, again, this brings me back to the point that I think that Sarah is the one true thingy, because now she's chosen not to share them with the rest of the group. They have clearly very much lost their powers along with Nancy. Yeah. I don't think it's a case of her binding them in this instance either. I think it's just because of the distance between them now that they're no longer able to inhabit her aura.
Yeah, I agree. We have the same viewing of this movie, which is rare, like unusual. so rare. As they're walking away from speaking to Sarah, they're like, she probably hasn't got her powers anyway. And with that, clouds roll in. There's thunder, there's lightning. Lightning strikes a tree and drops a branch right at their feet. And she's like, you should be careful what you say. You wouldn't want to end up like Nancy, would you? And we cut to the best acting ever of Nancy in a mental asylum. And she's like, I'm flying. He's in me again. And then they inject her. She's like, I'm flying. I love it when he's in me. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Call credits. The end.
Yeah, the end. Should we take a break?
Yeah, sure thing.
When you finish listening to this episode, why not head over to yourunpodcast.com and check out a podcast all about consumption. And that podcast is the Dewey Pod Monster, covering everything from independent film through to B-rated horror, through to brand new releases, and even TV shows and documentaries. The Dewey Pod Monster has everything you could possibly want. Hosted by John and Sean, this show is hilariously funny, very informative, and an excellent member of the You Run Podcast Network.
Make sure you go and check out the Dewey Pod Monster. You'll also see my appearance on there this week where I went and covered street trash. And if you don't know what street trash is, go and listen to the episode and then go and find it, because it is an experience.
It's a wild movie.
Yeah, it's I think the term I use on the episode is it's problematic.
Is that a Lloyd Kaufman? Is that a trauma movie?
No.
It should be.
100% it should be. But go and check out Dewey Pod Monster. Also go and check out all the other members at yourunpodcast.com. Let's do some 3-word reviews. Over on X, Dissect That Film. Firuza Bulk's Insane, and they're a film podcast. The Krusty Boys, Goth Starter Kit, and that's You Gonna Eat This Crust podcast. You can also check me out there. I'm on their latest episode as well, where we talk about movies that live rent-free in your head. Slasher were fully in this week, like 2 feet first. Had loads from Slasher. Kolobos 51, Hot Girl Witches, and they're a horror account. Mr. Smiley, better than the remake, and they're a horror account. And yeah, without question, this is better than The Craft Legacy, which is atrocious.
Never seen it.
Imagine this movie, but made with the most budget actors and actresses you could find, with no real narrative, and it's awful.
Right. Yeah, it didn't look appealing to me when it came out, I'll be honest.
No. We got The Devil's Reject 1974, Firuza Bulk, period. And they're a metal and horror movie account. Over on Instagram, Skellington Fan, loved this movie. That's Skelly. Really cool account. Go and give Skelly a follow. We've got K Scallon 653. It's Just Okay. And they're a horror account. We've got Randomly Eric, Pre-Scream Neve.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Eric's a really cool book account as well. Kate Lovell, Harry Potter Who. They're a mixed fan account. We've got Salvage Horror, who's also a horror account. Goth Chick Awakening. Witch with All the Gifts, Witchy Life Goals, and they are one half of the Gorgeous Ghouls podcast. And then we've got Mel Moser, who is going to reiterate something Mark said at the beginning of the show, which will send Mark into a 3-minute conversation. Great soundtrack.
It is a fantastic soundtrack to this movie. It's really, really good.
It's really that 90s vibe. Like, as soon as you hear the first couple of tracks in this, if you had no context to when this was made, you would know it was made in the 90s.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah. Huge thank you to everyone who gives 3-word reviews. Don't forget to follow us on one of our socials if you're listening and you've never done that before, and you can do it next time. TikTok Talks is another place you can get involved. We have a TikTok talk this week from Jim from Horror Movies and Shit, and he's got some thoughts on The Craft.
So The Craft came out a couple years after I graduated high school. And I have to say that this movie really hit with me, mostly because it was still fresh in my mind. I was not popular. I did not have a whole lot of friends. I was really an outsider and a loner. But this made me feel like I could have been part of a group. Really? Like there probably were people that I would have gelled with better. But even still, it becomes a how far are you willing to go just to be accepted type movie, right? And it makes you realize that high school is just high school. And that life goes on. It's edgy, it's dark, it's fun. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And you really take the ride with the characters. You see their evolution. You see their, in some cases, devolution into people that they never thought they would become. and what actually having some sort of power, whether it's metaphysical or, perceived through work or whatever, what it actually can do to people. And you get to see all the facets of it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I think this movie was very important to a lot of people around that time.
Yeah.
This is very much a movie about inclusion and about having friends, and yeah, it really captures that.
Yeah, I think it meant a lot to a lot of people back in the day.
Yeah, it definitely did. Also, go and check out our horror movies and shit. They're really, really cool horror movie podcast. Let's do some facts. If I've got any left that Mark hasn't burnt through. The actress who played Sarah, Robin Tunney, wore an auburn wig throughout and then swapped it for a blonde one. She filmed Empire Records in '95, and she was still really, really short haired. They tried to get a PG-13 rating for this, and they followed every single guideline, and they met every single guideline to hit that rating. When they went to the MPAA went, no, it's getting an R because it's dealing with young girls using witchcraft.
I don't think there is enough here to warrant the R rating, to be honest with you.
No.
It is very tame. And I think had they known, regardless, they were going to get the R rating because of the subject matter, they may have gone a little bit darker with it. And I think that would have probably made the movie more enjoyable for me, and especially when I was talking earlier about how this is not necessarily relatable to me these days as what it was back in the day. Had it been a much darker movie when it originally came out, it maybe would have still held a little bit more merit to me these days.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They hired a consultant on this movie called Pat Devin. Pat Devin is a practicing Wiccan, practicing witch. All of the spells that they use and all of the chants that they use are real witchcraft spells. They're actually summoning spells. But they changed the name of the deity because, in the consultant's words, we don't want to conjure anything we don't want on set. So when they went and done the conjuring on the beach, they had to film that in 2 nights. So the first night they started filming and they started doing the conjuring. And as they were doing the conjuring, around midnight, a fog rolled in and waves lapped up so far that they come up the beach and covered the set where the candles were. So they reset, they moved the candles further up the beach, and they done it again. And when they were doing the ritual, it come up and it went over the set again. And it was actually the witch consultant who pulled the plug and went, no, stop, come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I find that hard to digest because it is all literally hocus pocus. But yeah.
I thought it was a really cool fact that it was the witch consultant that pulled the plug, not the producer. That she went,
like you say, you're saying witch consultant like it's a real job.
No, but they worked very hard to make sure they stayed very authentic to the practices of Wicca and the practices of witchcraft. They made real efforts. So even in the witch shop, like they've got not just Wicca, but they've got other types of witchcraft religions displayed within that shop. So she sells a bit of everything. And if you know what you're looking at, you can clearly see different sections of like Wicca and Haitian magic. And they really made efforts that they didn't want to be pulled apart for it being unauthentic. And I think that's cool that they went to those lengths.
Yeah. I mean, as far as authenticity goes with witches, yeah, of course.
You are going to get someone call you out. We are going to have a witch call into this show next week and put a hex on you.
I'll be sat here next week as a frog.
Right now, there is someone sat at home going, I bind you, Mark. I bind you from saying anything bad about witches. Rachel True, who plays Rochelle, didn't know that the subplot had been changed. So she come on to do the eating disorder storyline. And she didn't find out until she was on set that they'd changed it to a racially driven story. And she was very uncomfortable with it. She wasn't very sure whether that was something she wanted to portray on screen. She's later said that that's one of the best things she's ever done. She's incredibly proud of it because it brought a highlight to something that actually happens in high school, and it's horrific.
Yeah, she should be proud of it. Again, I said earlier, I thought it was one of the strongest subplots of the movie, but definitely the most engaging as well.
All of the actresses were in their 20s. Rochelle, or Rachel True, who plays Rochelle, was almost 30 when she'd done this movie. But if you look at a photo of her now, when I release this episode, I'm doing a then versus now. Like Rachel True looks exactly the same today as she did when this movie came out. Like exactly the same. She could actually be a witch. There was loads of rumours that Fairuza Balk was a practicing witch when this movie came out. So when she went and done her research for this movie, she frequented a witchcraft shop, which she bought and she owned until 2001 when she sold it to the management team that she had in there. And she still has an active interest in witchcraft now, but she's not practicing. Rachel True plays Rochelle. She is a tarot reader now.
Wow.
So heavily influenced by this movie.
Again, fake. But if you've got a gimmick and it's bringing in the funds, go for it. But again, it's not real. And this tarot card, do you know what? I prefer the witch thing over the tarot card thing, because the tarot card thing is just as bad as psychic mediums giving people false hope and false sort of outlooks on things that are going to come their way, which is not something anybody has the ability to do. Nobody, before you say anything, has the ability to do that. They don't, Scott. They don't have the ability to do that.
No, I'm going to start a GoFundMe, and we're going to raise enough money for you to go for a tarot and a psychic reading.
I've been given the opportunity before. My wife believes in all this shit. She thinks it's all like fucking, yeah. No, you don't understand. You don't understand the powers that be. It's like, no, I do. You're just being fooled by some fucking magician messing you around and talking bullshit. It's not real. Like, they can't tell you. They just fixate on things that they may have found on your Facebook page before you turned up to the event. That's why they ask for your name before you go.
As someone who, do I believe? No, not necessarily. Do I do things that within my day that could be considered witchcraft? 100%. Putting out things into the world that are positive, expecting positive things to come back. That's the definition of witchcraft. It's all intention. What your intention is, that you then get back that intention, more of it. So if you put stuff out that's good, you get stuff back that's good. If you put stuff out that's bad, you get stuff back that's bad. Like, I don't believe on it on a, like, I can cast spells level, but I do believe if I'm putting out funny, entertaining content, for example, I will get funny, entertaining responses. Whereas if I'm very hateful and say that all witchcraft is fake and shit and I don't believe it, I might get some negative backlash like someone else.
Yeah, but of course, that's just common sense, though. That is just basic common sense. If you're out there living your best life and being jolly and happy, you're going to garner a happy response to it.
And
that's not witchcraft. That's just basic common knowledge. Like, that's just normal behavior. But if you're out there going around smacking people and being an arsehole and all the rest of it, then you are going to get a negative response to you as a person.
Yeah,
it doesn't require witchcraft and spells and some sort of magic ball in order to tell you that's how life works.
But that's the baseline for most Wiccan religions, is what you put out, you get back.
Right, well, I'm just going to start telling people that and charging them £40 to do it.
Ah, that's a deal. Well, we know how much it costs now. You need to give your own psychic reading. I said I'd talk about the animals that they brought to when they invoked the spirit on the beach. So they all brought animals that represented their character. So you put Bonnie's carrying a butterfly because it represents cocoon and then coming out as something beautiful. You've got Rochelle carries a clownfish, which is representative of her love of diving and being in the water. You've got Sarah is carrying a lovebird to represent her desire for Chris, and Nancy's carrying a snake, and a snake is a symbol of rebirth and transformation, and she obviously wanted to change out of her shitty life. And that is all the facts we have for this week. We do have a game, though.
Oh,
Would you like to play a game?
Always.
Okay, well, let's. I put lots of sound bites in. I've not used any this episode because I forgot to label them, and I don't know what they do. So pick top, middle, or bottom, and that will be our intro.
Fucking all right. Calm down, Bruce Forsyth. Top.
Magic.
We went head to head last week, so I wanted something really chill this week. So we're going to play a game of higher or lower, but with which movies. So I'm going to give you a movie and how much money it made, and then you're going to tell me if the next one made more or less money. And this is based off their global box office run. So we're going to start with The Craft. The Craft made 24 million at the global box office. So The Witch.
Higher. Are you on about The Vitch? Double
The
V?
Vitch, yeah, double V.
Yeah. Higher.
Only just $25 million.
Is that all that movie made?
Yeah.
Was that one of Robert Egerton's?
One of his earlier ones. The Blair Witch Project 2, Book of Shadows. Did that make more or less than 25 million?
I want to say more. I know it was a massive flop, but I feel like given the success of the first movie, people would have been like, "Oh, a sequel, let's go check it out," and then it just be absolute dog shit. And this was pre-times of when everybody just used to share YouTube video reviews, so you knew whether to go and watch something or not immediately.
Yeah.
I'm going to say higher.
It was, but only by $1 million, $26 million. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
That's the Gemma Arterton and Hawkeye movie.
Yes, that's it.
That's really hard because, again, like I feel like that would have been one that quite a lot of people would have checked out. Now I'm gonna go lower on that. I think.
Oh, unlucky! It made $55 million.
I should have stuck to my guns. I knew that one had done all right.
So that made 55. Hocus Pocus.
Lower than 55.
It is. It made $39 million. The best witch movie ever made by a country mile, Practical Magic.
I've not seen Practical Magic. That's the Sandra Bullock one, right? Nicole
Awesome
Kidman
movie. Yeah, love that movie.
Higher than that's like big star power as well when that came out. I'm going to say higher than Hocus Pocus.
It was $46 million. Two more. The Witches of Eastwick.
Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
Lower.
No, it made $63 million.
Oh, cool.
We've done really well. And the last one, the original Blair Witch Project.
Higher than 63, I think.
Sure?
No. But I know that was like a phenomenon when that came out. Like everybody was going to the cinema to see that movie. Surely that made...
The Blair Witch Project costs $15,000 to make.
That was like massive though, wasn't it?
Was.
I mean, we're not talking 100 million, but I think it was like... What was the last one? 63, did you say?
Yeah.
I think it might have been higher.
Okay, you're right. It made $140 million.
Oh, so it was higher than 100.
Yeah. It's one of the most profitable movies of all time, and it is the biggest box office witch movie ever made by miles.
Is it still a high? It's not higher than Paranormal Activity, though, is it?
No, not for amount of money made. I think for the margin of money it made, so the percentage it made against its budget, I think it's still up there.
Yeah, I think Paranormal still reigning title for that though at the moment.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first this time because I'm just going to. I say every week I'm going to keep it brief, but I am going to try this week.
But before you do, I'll give you. We've got two left. We'll have an intro for each of our roundups. So, do you want top or bottom? Oh no, you had top earlier. Do you want middle or bottom?
Middle or bottom. Take either, to be honest. I'll go bottom.
The Wheel of Wild Magic.
Wheel of Magic. Go on then. Give us your roundup.
Right. So I think this movie lives fondly in my memory more on nostalgia than it does in reality based upon my latest rewatch. I think the casting is great. I think everybody does a fantastic job. I really love the visual effects throughout this movie, even the CGI. As much as you all know, I'm not a CGI person. I think they all do still hold up particularly well. I've mentioned my minor gripes that I have with these throughout, but I do think as a whole, it's still really, really impressive. The practical effects, especially with the scene later on in the reflection in the mirror, and you get the full Freddy Krueger makeup, looks fucking fantastic. One thing that I particularly liked about this movie was the relationships between the core four. I think you can each individual groupage, like when they sort of separate, and you've got Bonnie and Sarah, or then you've got Rochelle, and like no matter how they branch off, their characters seem to fall differently with the way they interact with one another, depending on the person they're with, and I think that translates really, really well on screen.
Yeah, very authentic.
It's very authentic, and I think that's very credible to the writing and as well as the actors as well. I think everybody's come together to create something very genuine here. And for someone who isn't a believer and isn't a big possession and witch type sort of supernatural element kind of guy, I do really like this movie. My criticisms fall with the pacing. I think that the pacing of this movie could have been condensed a little bit. There is some long stretches, especially within the first two acts, that just feels like the momentum dips heavily, and it's like, come on, let's go now, let's just do some witch shit. Overall, I think it's a great movie. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. I think it's dated in terms of me as an audience member. I think there is probably a lot of younger people who have never seen The Craft before who would come into it and just be like, wow, this is one of the best movies ever made. How have I never seen this? And they would probably relate to it in the same way that I did when I was like 13, 14, watching this for the first time. But as a 35-year-old man now, it's hard to relate to a lot of the subject matters that are going on within this movie. And I think that's the problem. I don't think it's the movie itself. I just think it's the way that it was targeted towards a certain demographic that I've now grown out of. But I do love this movie and I still enjoy watching it, but it's not a movie that I would probably sit down and focus my full 100% attention to as an adult now. I would put it on in the background on Halloween night and then go to it when I knew the bits that I really enjoy are coming up, like the closing act and some of the magical stuff and certain character development processes throughout. Those are the bits that I would go to, and then I could probably dip out for 10 minutes and then come back to it again. But yeah, it's a great movie. If you've never seen The Craft, check it out. It's definitely worth your time. There's a lot of stuff here that's worthy of appreciation. And most of it still holds up today. Again, it's just me as a person. I feel like I've outgrown this movie more than the movie dating itself over time. So yeah, so it's a 4 out of 5 still. It's a very solid score for a movie like this. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with it.
What soundbite did I have left for me?
Do you like to see a magic trick?
You said the best to last, didn't you?
I didn't know what they were. They're all just numbered like 1 through 3. This movie is one of those movies that I class as a it is what it is movie. Like when I watched this when I was younger, it was great. On this rewatch, I was kind of nonplussed by the whole thing. The story's good, the casting's fine. The effects are a mix of absolutely mind-boggling. How the fuck did they do that in 1996? Followed by what in the Atari bullshit is this?
It's not that bad.
It's a good movie. I enjoy it. I don't think it's something after this rewatch that I'll revisit anytime in the near future. I'm not going to attack this movie because I know it's widely loved and appreciated. It also has a huge following of actual practicing witches that I have no intention of upsetting.
Don't worry about it, man. There's no ramifications from that bullshit.
Do you know, you need to be careful. Like, I think you upset a witch before and all your hair fell out because of it.
Don't go there, man. Don't go there with me.
I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5, and that's all I'm saying on it. If you've not seen it, especially if you are under the age of 25 and you've not seen this movie, this is 100% a must-watch for you.
Definitely.
100%. That is a wrap for this week, but do not despair. We will be back next Monday with another review of another 90s movie. One that I will attack without relent because it is utter recycled garbage, and I'm almost angry that we have to talk about it.
I can't wait to do this with you.
But until next week, stay safe, be good. Remember, she thinks fellatio is a character in Shakespeare. Fucking next week could be a disaster. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Hey, everyone.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Mark. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.